talk about the presidency itself now, because some people, they feel like sometimes it's too far away from the people. And I know part of our job as well is getting it as close to the people as possible. How I intend for do that?
So so several things. First, maybe for start with the, and maybe I should have said this earlier, especially when this is the first time I'm here. And I think first important for pay tribute to President Julius Maada Bio. First, being so grateful that he has privileged me this role. And also for assure the people of Salone, say, President Julius Maada Bio think highly of the media in Salone. He recognized the role and he think the media very important. Not just for provide a platform forum, but also for help, for nurture, and for grow with democracy and with peace. And an ambition now for make it get this very fine and fantastic relationship with the media. So with my appointment as press secretary, some of the things where I don't put together, one, now for see how, like maybe twice a month, we do a State House specific press briefing. And we started this last Friday. And the feedback so they get from that, first from the media courtesies where I start, just on my appointment. And I begin to discuss some of them thoughts. And I find out, say, the feedbacks where I get, that's a very important step. So I made that commitment to His Excellency, that this is one of the things that I want to do, and he was highly supportive. So I started it last Friday. We also want to see how, considering the media ecosystem, I know the value, I know the importance of editors, I know the importance of station managers. I know say we get a lot for do, not just on editorials, but we sit on a lot of information. And we get so much knowledge about managing the media and a lot of suggestions about what we can do as a government for deepening and widening the relationship with the media. If we look at all what President Julius Maada Bio don't do based on a commitment to the media in the last 5 years, from the repeal of the seditious and criminal libel law, the seditious and defamatory libel law, to the subvention that's going to sludge, to the fact say President Bio don't sign up to the global pledge on press freedom, a lot of the things we'll do in 5 years. The key question is how we're able to sustain this and grow and more. And no say editors, station managers, very senior journalists, and some of them veteran journalists. That is a very important layer in the media where also things we're able to tap from. So one of the things we also consider, now maybe on a quarterly basis, at a very informal setting, it could be a cocktail or something, we just get together and pick with brains. And in the process, we talk about some of the policies, we talk about relationship. And I believe, say, in the process, we're able to generate a lot of ideas, constructive propositions on what should we do. And maybe some of the things as a government we have not been paying attention to, or maybe would not have been brought to our attention. I think there is so much we can achieve, from their informal settings then day. So that's also another thing that we want to do. The other thing is how we go able for diversify we mechanism for information dissemination. So I know say the chiefdoms they organize alone then so much. The key question is what in President Julius Maada they do. Una sure say it reach to the last man at the village. Una sure say it reach to the last man at the chiefdom. These are some of the thoughts we, even with President Bio himself, we have discussed, and he is so receptive to some of them things. The other thing, Mr. Nyale, maybe about what do you do new? Again, on the question of how predictable is your environment, I'm working on a simple communications strategy for State House communications. In addition to that, I want to make every facet of the work we do at State House communications be guided by an SOP, either a simple manual or a standard operating protocol. So for example, we are doing press conferences, waiting at the guide to them press conferences. So even if Solomon Jamiru is not here, anyone who is anchoring that press briefing, you know what to do. If we say press briefing is 11 o'clock, cameras must be positioned at least 40 or 30 minutes to commencement time. Waiting at the sitting position. Waiting at your script. How should you validate it? If we talk about news generation, waiting at the mechanism, where they do your news, how do you get it edited? How is it validated? How do you get it published? So a lot of that. So if you look at, for example, the press briefing where I do, Mr. Nyali, you realize that I was so much scripted and guided because this is the presidency. So I don't challenge my team, say, what about presidential travels? The party go apply, for example, they want to go commission bridge, they want to go open school, they want to go launch a farm. Now we're talking about feed salon, waiting at the role of State House communications. So we don't want anything for be arbitrary. Or HE travel today, that's the point time we'll have to come around. Would they do this, waiting for do next? No. So I told them it has to be highly predictable. So their SOPs then they are being developed. We are working with somebody also on a simple communication strategy, not more than 20 pages, hopefully. So something the way they guide we all in State House communications. So those are some of the things that we are doing and hopefully able for add value to the work they do and create the difference we want to see, even as my commitment is to continue the wonderful work that my brother and predecessor Keke Thomas Sandy started.